Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I am Lami Ali. You can follow this news broadcast live on our website nta.ng/live and all our social media platforms displayed on the screen for updates. We begin with the Academic Staff Union of Universities. Now, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, has announced suspension of its 8-month-old strike. A statement by the union's president, Professor Emmanuel Osodeke, says the National Union had an emergency meeting and reviewed developments since the union declared an indefinite strike action on 29 August 2022. As a law-abiding union in defense of appeals by the president and in recognition of the efforts of the Speaker of the House of Representatives as well as other well-meaning Nigerians, ASUU's NEC resolved to suspend the industrial action embarked upon on 14 February 2022. Consequently, the union directed all members to resume services with effect from 12 a.m. of Monday, 17 October 2022. As politicians in Nigeria use all available means to occupy political offices in the run-up to the 2023 elections, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, has cautioned judicial officers to resist inducements to pervert the course of justice. Justice Ariwola gave the advice at the swearing-in of the acting president, Customary Court of Appeal of the Federal Capital Territory. Olabode Ariwa brings us the report.
That was the acting president, Customary Court of Appeal of the Federal Capital Territory, Justice Stanley Adekunle Lawal, taking his oath of office before the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola. The warm felicitations and congratulations over. It was time for the CJN to remind the new appointee and his brother justices of their position as role models of honesty and uprightness in the polity.
At the lower rung of the judicial ladder, you are there to represent our interests and crystallize the image of the Nigerian judiciary by doing justice. A law with unmerited material possession will not only weaken your reputation, but equally impair your sense of judgment. That is not my wish for your lordship anyway. However, you should always be very careful and vigilant too.
Justice Lawal joined the FCT Customary Court of Appeal bench in 2011. His appointment as president in acting capacity followed the retirement of his predecessor, Justice Abaze Musa Abubakar Sadiq. In Abuja, Olabode Ariwa, NTA News.
Now, a federal high court sitting in Yola has nullified the governorship primary where Senator Aishatu Ahmed Binani emerged as Adamawa State APC standard bearer. The presiding judge, Justice Abdulaziz Anka, gave the order in a matter filed by Nuhu Ribadu, which challenged the conduct of the primary. The court did not make any pronouncements on the conduct of another primary to fill the candidates for the APC in the election. And the Tinubu Shetima Ambassadors, a political support group of the All Progressives Congress APC, has commenced campaign with the distribution of campaign materials and inauguration of state and zonal coordinators in Abuja. The group reaffirmed readiness to be vanguard of issue-based campaign as a tradition of the APC as demonstrated in past elections.
Our main function and responsibilities as state and zonal coordinators is to concentrate on mobilization of eligible voters at the wards and at the units. Engagement with major stakeholders in the states, and strict contact with state and local government parliamentarians. Return back to your various states. Increase the morale of your local coordinators that are capable to deliver. Eschew factional politics. Ensure a level playing ground. Ensure all inclusiveness and do not allow your personal interests to override the interest of Tinubu Shetima ambassadors as a support group and the All Progressive Congress as a party.
Tinubu Shetima ambassadors also acknowledged the achievements of the APC-led government as an advantage in the task ahead. And the Director General of the People's Democratic Party's presidential campaign organization, Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal of Sokoto State, has debunked rumors making the rounds that the organization has set aside its drive for votes, which kick-started last week. In a statement by the media advisor to Governor Tambuwal, Mohammed Bello says, contrary to what is being circulated on social media and similar platforms, the campaign train is continuing on Monday in Kaduna. Describing the report as fake, the statement adds that the DG of the Presidential Campaign Council was taken aback when social media and some other platforms reported that the council had cut off its campaign and urges the public to note that the PDP presidential campaign is still on. Now, the 2023 election is for the People's Democratic Party. I'll take that again. The 2023 election is for the People's Democratic Party to win and also to lose, if not united. Acting chairman of the party's board of trustees, Senator Adolphus Wabara, stated this while presenting a report of the Special Reconciliation Committee of the board set up by the National Working Committee to reconcile aggrieved members of the party ahead of the 2023 general elections. Correspondent Timothy Yusuf reports that the Special Reconciliation Committee of the Board of Trustees was mandated by the party's National Working Committee following some disagreements that arose from the conduct of the PDP presidential primary election, thus declared former Vice President Atiku Abubakar as winner. Wabara acknowledged that a lot of ego has been bruised in the last few months and reconciliation becomes imperative. PDP National Chairman Senator Iyorchia Ayu promised utilization of the BOT Special Reconciliation Committee's report for the overall unity and progress of the party. Winning all positions in the 2023 general elections is the ultimate desire of the PDP National Working Committee, Ayu emphasized. Details of this report will come to you in our subsequent bulletin. Now, the National Working Committee of Labour Party has affirmed the list of Presidential Campaign Council released to prosecute the 2023 election. The committee, however, apologized to the presidents of the NLC and TUC, whose names were erroneously included in the list. David Irie reports.
Controversy stirred the release of the campaign council among some leaders who felt not carried along. Concerned about the development, the National Working Committee, in an enlarged meeting, reviewed and endorsed the list, but promised that a supplementary document to accommodate the initial omissions will be released soon. Chairman of the party, Julius Abure, presented the communique at the end of the meeting.
Labour Party is fully ready and all parameters to prosecute the election in 2023 has been put in place, and at the moment we are consolidating the momentum that will help us establish a new Nigeria come May 29, 2023.
The party wants INEC to do more in ensuring the collection of permanent voters' cards and raised concerns about the incessant attack on members of the party.
The National Peace Commission should go beyond just signing peace accords. I think they should also be able to also condemn acts and behavior that can cause chaos and bring disagreement in the political space.
The enlarged meeting of the committee passed a vote of confidence on the chairman of the party. In Abuja, NTA News.
Now, the National Security Council has ordered full-scale investigations into all acts of sabotage undermining the nation's economic well-being in the Niger Delta region, with a view to bringing perpetrators to justice. The Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, announced this while briefing journalists after the council's meeting summoned by President Muhammadu Buhari. Details will come to you in the course of the bulletin. Now, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo this Friday in Gombe State witnessed the signing of a memorandum of understanding between the state government and 6 industrial companies. The investors are committing 75 billion naira to the development of areas such as power, mining and raw materials, production, steel, youth development, training and capacity building. The signing of the Memorandum of Understanding forms part of the 3-day Gombe Investment Summit 2022 with the theme Industrialization, Pathway to Innovation, Transformation and Development of Gombe State. The purpose of the summit, Governor Inuwa Yahaya explains, is part of efforts to move the people from poverty to prosperity. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who was commended for being a great inspiration to states in their economic drive, gives kudos to the governor for the achievements so far recorded and taking bold steps that made the state an investor-friendly destination. Meanwhile, before leaving the state, the Vice President laid the foundation for the Muhammadu Buhari Industrial Park in Daɗin-Kowa in Yamaltu-Diba local government area of Gombe State. We're now joining Deola in Lagos for more reports on Nationwide. Deola, it's over to you.
Thank you, Lami. Now, good news for students. Exactly 8 months after the Academic Staff Union of Universities ASUU embarked on an industrial action to press home their demands, the union, after a series of meetings, negotiations, interventions and pleas, have suspended the action conditionally. Rutheria Samuel completes the report.
Chairman, University of Lagos chapter of ASUU, said though the issues in contention are yet to be satisfactorily addressed, the union has decided to suspend its strike.
The doggedness, demonstrated by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, it is the belief of our union that within a very short period of time, both our union and government led by President Muhammadu Buhari will be able to resolve all of those gray areas so that there can be, lasting peace on campuses.
A drive through the University of Lagos campus shows that the effect of the strike still lingers as students and staff heave a sigh of relief for the suspension of the 8-month strike.
They will welcome development, and it will help the students that have been stranded for more than almost a year.
Thank God they will go back to their various schools. And that one is I give kudos to the president.
I have mixed feelings about ASUU strike, the suspended ASUU strike, because one thing, I want to graduate, I'm in my finals, and it's just remaining 1 semester for me to graduate. But then I'm also learning data analytics now, and I feel like I'm getting somewhere with it. So the suspending of ASUU strike now is going to make me put data analytics on hold and then go back to school.
With this new development by ASUU, it is hoped that by next week, full activities will commence on campuses nationwide and the entire atmosphere will reverberate the ambience once synonymous with the university environment. In Lagos, Ruth Ariel Samuel, NTA News.
Good news indeed. Now to the political scene as political parties work out modalities towards achieving success in the 2023 general elections. The need for tolerance, respect and issue-based campaigns formed part of discussions at the Chaplains Peace Summit in Lagos. Adobe Obiechina reports that presentations hinged on peaceful transition of government.
Banditry, kidnapping, robbery, and other crimes against humanity triggers fear, unrest, and political instability in any nation. To this end, key players on crime prevention at this peace summit seeks to provide adoptable strategies to ending the crimes.
Insecurity that is having the predominance in Nigeria communities is part of the major concern of our organization.
Coexistence between religious, between humanity leaders is far better for us to have a country, because if there is no peace, there is no nation.
On the 2023 general elections, speakers advocate commitment from religious, political, and traditional leaders for a hitch-free transition.
These people that will be training, we will be engaging them in different ways. We'll be engaging them in community development. We'll be engaging them in information gathering. We'll be engaging them on election observers, and also
not be possible without human input. It's on that premise that this association under United Nations is coming up to aid achieving peace in Nigeria.
We believe that if we keep our youth engaged, if we keep them trained, it will keep them off, being streetwise, because a lot of people say they are streetwise. It would help them to channel their energy into development and into conflict resolution.
They also recommend effective synergy between security agencies before, during, and after the elections. In Lagos, Adobe Obiechina, NTA News.
Those are the stories from Lagos. Do not forget, you can still follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. Nationwide will continue with Salamatu in Kaduna after this time out to stay.
Thank you for joining us again. Nigeria is not oblivious of how global economic trajectory is affecting her. However, steps are being taken to sustain growth patterns recorded in recent growth indices. That was the position of the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning as she joined other policymakers in the global debate on the economy. Let's join Leah Katung-Babatunde for details on that.
Financial markets have reacted to the news that Nigeria is looking to restructure her debt as the cost of servicing it rise. The fundamentals are tightly roped as investors as well as creditors try to feel the pulse. Minister Zainab Ahmed speaks on what is at stake for Nigeria and the way out.
We've been able to shift our loans from short tenors to medium and longer term tenors. We have to do the same thing for international borrowings as well, bilateral loans and even some of the concessional loans, that the periods should be stretched to give us more fiscal room. While we are working to increase revenue, to improve on our revenue to debt service, we still need to be able to renegotiate and stretch out our repayment obligations to provide.
When you see dark clouds on the debt horizon, don't wait. Look at ways in which you can extend maturities. You can improve the matching of currency obligations with what you are earning yourself. In that sense, what Nigeria is doing in the current environment is exactly what Nigeria should be doing.
Right. Nigeria is not the only country in dire straits. The global economy is being weighed down by way too much baggage.
There needs to be coordination there amongst the authorities. There needs to be thought about micro-prudential instruments, I've just said a lot, that could potentially be adjusted for macro-prudential reasons, such as the leverage ratio on banks, to help ease this transition that's necessary from a monetary perspective.
The debate was on the back of heightened inflation to levels not seen in decades, high debt levels and increasing strains from tighter global financial conditions amid a global fragmentation pressure. From Washington, D.C., I'm Leah Katung-Babatunde, NTA News.
Nationwide continues in Kaduna with Salamatu. Hello, Salamatu.
Hello, Nami. Good evening, and thanks for joining us here.
Concerned by the perennial flooding and its devastating effect, Jigawa state government inaugurates 2 action committees to generate fund and face the problem squarely. Muhammad Askira reports that the committees with distinctive terms of reference are expected to produce an operational template that will reverse Jigawa's status as perpetual victim of annual flood disaster in the country.
Jigawa State has been battling flood disaster for many years. However, the 2022 episode of the flood has come with unusual intensity. The state government has stretched its resources to limit, but the humanitarian crisis generated by the disaster remains far from being solved. Thousands of households and hectares of farmlands were destroyed, while close to 200 lives were lost to the flood and flood-related situations across the state. These are what necessitated the inauguration of the 2 committees, namely the State Committee on Flood Disaster Assessment, Fundraising, Palliative Distribution and the establishment of State Flood Trust Fund, and the State Technical Committee on Flood Mitigation. While the first committee will be chaired by Alhaji Bashir Alhatu, the second will be chaired by Alhaji Mahmoud Dao Aliu, the current Managing Director, Hadeja Jamara River Basin Authority.
Predictability of the annual floods and its continued devastation, it became necessary to execute measures that will limit their future occurrence and mitigate their tragic outcomes. Where this requires short, medium to long-term intervention, so the immediate access will also be necessary to alleviate and cushion the socio-economic devastations caused by floods. We are committed, we are concerned, and we appreciate the government's sympathy and concern for its people.
With the existing efforts of the state government, the inauguration of these committees will no doubt produce a far-reaching result that will bring to the end of years of suffering by the government and people of Jigawa State. Askira, NTA News.
An authority, Kaduna Networks, a consultative meeting candidates in the state to forthcoming general election expected of.
We're experiencing signal hitches from Kaduna, so we continue here. Now, the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development is to collaborate with the Central Bank of Nigeria in providing soft loans to young Nigerians in jewelry design. The Minister of State for Mines and Steel Development, Gbemisola Lasaraki, stated this as the graduation of the second batch in master training in jewelry making and design in Abuja. The training under the World Bank program is aimed at getting value for Nigeria's solid mineral products instead of exporting the raw materials.
The market first starts with local market. Could we start and perfect local market, which is what we did with our fashion, with our clothes. We perfect local market, and when we do that, the international market will come looking for us. The most important thing is to get Nigerians like myself to continue to buy jewelry from you. The ministry, through the MINDIVER project, has concluded plans to purchase starter packs for each of the graduates of batch 1 and batch 2. And then comes to the issue of funding. I know that we are looking, you need to funding towards soft loans, as somebody said. That what we will do as well with the ministry, I can assure you that as I stand here today, that the ministry will look at assisting and speaking with through because you know the central bank has different projects and different programs and funding to see how we as a ministry, we assure you will work together to see how some of their various programs and possibility of funding can be extended to you. I think it will be good for us, Mr. Jeka and MINDIVER, to see how we can put that together, that whatever soft loans that you require, it will go further in the training can be acquired.
President Xi Jinping of the People's Republic of China has commiserated with President Muhammadu Buhari on the recent boat mishap in Anambra State. More than 40 people died in the accidents which happened on Friday, October 7th at Umunankwo in Ogbaru local government area of Anambra State. In a letter to President Buhari, the Chinese leader wrote, "The stressed learn of the boat mishap in Anambra State, Nigeria, which has caused heavy casualty. In the name of the Chinese government and people, I extend deepest condolences to the victims and sincere sympathy to their families." End of quote. Now, recurrent flood in Delta State is forcing communities to build resilience against its impact. Nestled on the bank of the Niger, Akwanala and her people are surviving the flood in a curious way.
In 2012, we're talking that 2012 was bad, but this one has surpassed the one of 2012. We've not seen this type before, even before I was born and till now. And even my father, even when he was alive, he have never told me that is a flood even up to this extent. And let me say in the next 3 to 4 months now, it will become a hunger strike in our people because of the result of the flood.
Okwanala is an example of what the flood devastation means to people of Oshimili South local government area in Delta State.
Because I'm one of the vigilantes. So most of the time when there is a flood disaster like this, some boys, some radical boys used to come in and divert some goods or even some items and properties. So mostly that is the reason why I'm here.
What can you talk of? All is gone, no school. The school closed since July this year, no school, no hospital. The little hospital we have here, water has carried everywhere.
Life in Okwanala is a floating journey. It is lived one boat at a time. Okwanala is the story of resilient adaptation of a people determined to survive the flood despite the odds. Many have fled the community because of the height of the flood water. But some, like members of this family, have chosen to stay put because they say they have nowhere to run to. For many, the flood problem is the least of their worries. The bigger concern is how to survive and build back when the water recedes. On NDLEA, fine face. NTA.
Now, still on flooding, several sections of the east-west road have been cut off by flood. In Delta State, the section linking Patani to Ugeli has several broken portions. Some parts of the affected locations are currently not motorable. A long stretch from Mbiama to Ukobi in Huada, West Local Government area of River State, is hugely impacted. Movement is impossible beyond Okobe to Huada town for vehicles. Commuters disembark from Mbiama and Huada across the pool on foot and continue their journey with other vehicles.
Above my chest level, it was so delayed, I almost fell. No trailer can even pass. That will tell you how bad it is. Trailer cannot. Trailers are getting stuck. I actually took a trailer, but it got stuck on me, so we had to come down. It was not funny. It's a terrible experience.
Others use trailers and tippers to wade through the flooded portions of the road. Many passengers are stranded at different points between Ugeli in Delta State and Ahuada town in River State. And Enugu is our next stop on Nationwide, and we have Comfort standing by. Over to you, Comfort.
Thank you, Lami, and many thanks for joining us in Enugu. The Minister of State for Science, Technology and Innovation, Henry Iko, has re-emphasized the need to develop homegrown capabilities to domesticate infrastructures built in Nigeria. The minister was speaking at the Southeast Dialogue on the establishment and implementation of the Technology and Innovation Centers for Global Competitiveness and Productivity in Enugu. Okechukwu Agubama has the details.
Stakeholders of the ministry from various parts of the southeast, the minister re-echoed the need to implement a strategy towards the realization of the President Muhammad Buhari's promise to take over 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in the next 10 years in order to rationalize, revitalize and reposition all federal research institutes.
The theme is dwelling on where Nigeria stopping important things that we can ordinarily produce. That is the mandate of the potential of the party. We want to begin to do reverse engineering using Broya, who has been here since. We must produce machinery in which we can use as a starting point and begin to produce what we need.
He added that there is need for active collaboration with the private sector to create a large number of well-paid jobs for Nigerian youths.
This President Muhammad Buhari, within the short time we are going to do, we have a mandate to export. We must export, we must produce what we can use and export the rest. That is the way to create wealth. That is the way to go.
Full implementation, full digitalization, full. We are compliant. Our state is ICT compliant. Always.
The two-day dialogue centered on the need to establish science and technology parks across the country, subject to availability of intervention funds. In Enugu, Okechukwu Agobama, NTA News.
And the Anambra State Command of the Federal Road Safety Corps has stepped up public enlightenment activities across the state and has also trained about 1,000 neighborhood rescue team in all the 21 local government areas to assist in rescue efforts during road traffic crashes. This came to the fore during the 2022 Ember Month Safety Campaign flag off in Oka, the Anambra State capital. Chinyere Fesi Okoye reports.
With the theme, avoid speeding, overloading and unsafe tires to arrive alive, stakeholders at the event who decried questionable attitude of some road users regret that these three factors have sent many to the grave and should therefore be avoided at all costs.
All the corporate and liabilities within the command are to then employ for the success of the Ember Month program.
We step up patrol activities. We also ensure clearing of obstructions.
Other speakers, including Commissioner for Transport, who represented Governor of Anambra State, reiterate that safer roads bring fuller lives, and life has no duplicate.
Tragedies on the road is avoidable, and we owe ourselves that duty to avoid it.
Responding to the request of the call for the masses to support them, reduce the rate of fatalities.
News broadcast live on our social media handle Twitter at NTA News Now, our Facebook page at NTA Network News, and our YouTube at NTA Live. We'll take another break here. Nationwide will continue with Sadia in Sokoto after this break.
In Sokoto. The Kebbi State Police Command is deploying new strategies to aid investigation in tune with the new trend in global policing. This was a thrust of discussion at a workshop organized by the State Criminal Investigation Department of the Command in Birnin Kebbi, the Kebbi State capital. Osman Abdullahi reports.
Observers in the nation's dispensation of justice system have often frowned at the shoddy investigation of very serious cases by the police, considered a critical partner in that regard. The workshop organized by the command was to ensure that those saddled with the responsibility of conducting thorough investigation on cases that are criminal in nature do so with diligence and professionalism. The Kebbi State Commissioner of Police Ahmad Magaji Kontagora, who described the event as timely, charged the participants to remain focused, as conviction can only be secured in the situation where crime of suspect are thoroughly investigated using global best practices strategies.
The Kebbi State Police Command, under my watch, will continue to organize workshops, seminars and conferences, not only in the areas of investigation and prosecution of cases, but civility to members of the public, crowd control, musketry, as well as electoral laws, with a view to refreshing the memory of its personnel to discharge their duties effectively.
Other officers who spoke at the occasion lauded the organizers. In a related development, about 50 million naira was disbursed as support to support 21 families of officers who lost their precious lives in the line of duty.
This is to take care of the welfare of the serving personnel and the families of the deceased officers. Today's event is an assurance to the next of kin of the deceased police officers that the force will always take care of her own.
Samuel Duru Jadaka, who spoke on behalf of the beneficiaries, expressed appreciation over the gesture.
We sincerely appreciate them for the encouragement, for being with us, even when it happens.
And Birnin Kebbi, Usman Abdullah Shehu, NTA News.
Impacting modern techniques of farming to local farmers by agricultural extension workers has been described as key to attaining sustainable food security in Nigeria. This was the position of stakeholders at a two-day training workshop for extension workers in Birnin Kebbi, the Kebbi state capital. Correspondent Ibrahim Hamidu reports.
From the inception of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, sustainable food production through mechanized farming remains top on the list of his agenda. To achieve that, agricultural extension workers play a key role in ensuring the need to have their knowledge constantly updated. That explains the convergence in Birnin Kebbi, where the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, in collaboration with the National Agricultural Extension and Research Liaison Services, organized a two-day training workshop for 50 agricultural extension workers.
Cannot achieve agriculture without extension services because you need to send a message to the farmer. And how do you send that message through an extension officer?
Training has seriously changed the mindsets of our youths and women, that is in the production of rice, as I earlier said. Our capacities were well built. There are recent innovations in agriculture development that were carried along.
The participants expressed optimism that with such type of training, Kebbi will remain the state to beat in rice production.
With the training we got here, we are going back to our localities and train our farmers one by one. At times, we even going to their farms to train them the modern ways of what we have been trained here.
We really improve with what we have from the training, and I promise them that when we go back, they will really develop based on their agricultural activity production.
The training is third in a row conducted by the ministry on different aspects of agricultural production across the country. In Birnin Kebbi, Ibrahim Hamidu, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's now back to Lani in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Sadia. Now, the attention of the management of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, has been drawn yet again to the activities of fraudsters who are going about scamming and defrauding desperate job seekers with fake offer of job placement in FIRS for a fee. The Executive Chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service, in a statement wishes to stress that FIRS is now recruiting, and whenever it wishes to do so, all channels of communication will be utilized to pass the information. The general public is once again called upon to be wary of the activities of the scammers and stay clear of them to avoid unpleasant consequences. The management of FIRS is not under any obligation to answer to any matter arising from the activities of scammers or fraudsters and will not be liable in any way. Now, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, is inculcating new values in its leadership to ensure success in its mandate of cleansing the country of drugs. Abdul Malik Hassan reports.
The fight against illicit drug and trafficking has been on for quite some time, and for about 2 years now, the results in curbing the organized crime is seen as remarkable. Although tough and a challenging one to tackle, the methods deployed by the Mara-led leadership is making impact.
With all the successes happening, there are members of the community outside who understand they are working genuinely and they are giving them information to help. So relationship must be very mutual within as well as outside. And when I talk about the management we're training them, is for them to be very good leaders. They are leaders.
Femi Baba Femi, the image maker of the agency, also needs more knowledge, so taking part in this workshop for greater contributions to his job.
This is just like improving the capacity of the officers and men of the agency that will enable them to be more effective and efficient in their output, and that also ultimately affects the outcome of what they do. That is the performance of the agency ultimately. That we believe will go around all the country, will go around all the commands, all the structures of the agency across the country.
Intellectual capacity is here tested. High expectations required from the participants for more success in the war against the drug lords. Abdul Malik Hassan, NTA News.
Now, the Martin Luther Agwai Leadership and Peacekeeping Center has commenced training of armed forces personnel of African countries on countering piracy to consolidate on achievements that have translated in the decrease of recorded cases of sea piracy in the Gulf of Guinea in the last 6 months. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has the story.
The Gulf of Guinea, previously a notorious maritime domain due to piracy, is currently experiencing relative peace thanks to regional cooperation. This training by the Martin Luther Agwai Leadership and Peacekeeping Center is meant to consolidate on these achievements.
The counter-piracy project, which is being implemented by the center, will assist the Gulf of Guinea region to further strengthen their institutional effectiveness, inclusiveness, accountability, transparency, and responsiveness.
This project is one of the Japan's contribution to capacity building, and we hope that the knowledge acquired by the 30 trainees will improve safety in the Gulf of Guinea.
It brings together African Armed Forces personnel to participate in Course 3 of the counter-piracy program.
I see this course as a forum designed to discuss ways to stem the tide of attacks, as well as to profile more cross-cutting efforts that will incorporate preventive, deterrent, and collaborative measures against piracy.
Participants will be required to bring their various experiences, competencies, and expertise to bear.
The dynamics of crime requires updating of skills, and this training is to fill the gap in tackling piracy. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
As the world enters the final decade of meeting sustainable development goals, stakeholders have commended Nigeria's efforts at implementing the National Multi-Sectoral Plan of Action for Food and Nutrition 2021 to 2025. This came up at the National Nutrition Data Results Conference in Abuja. Basi Itaipang reports.
Despite the challenges of COVID-19, speakers noted that the federal government has, in collaboration with partners, made significant progress in expanding the availability of national and subnational data to guide nutrition decisions. The conference, which aligns with the African Union of Nutrition, noted from a bottom-up perspective, the implementation of Nigeria's flagship project at Accelerating Nutrition, supported by the World Bank, has generated results.
Today, more women are exclusively breastfeeding their children up to 6 months. We're also seeing that there is more support for women to attend antenatal care services. However, we are not seeing enough progress in terms of what our children are eating once they turn 6 months. And this is critically important if we want to reverse the trend of malnutrition in the country.
The aim of the conference is to develop key documents and assess progress of the ongoing efforts to strengthen nutrition value chain in Nigeria.
Well, Nigeria is going to chart a new course in the way they address nutrition problems in the country, because with adequate nutrition data now they can target, both in terms of funding, in terms of beneficiaries of their program, so that the real multifarious factors that are causing nutrition problems can be addressed.
One of the issues that we need to address is the fact that we have a lot of data now,
how do we make the best use of this data to inform policy and decisions.
The conference is expected to bring out a call to action document within the context of agreed national nutrition framework. The conference was organized by the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and Planning with support from civil societies scaling up nutrition in Nigeria. Basi Taikban, NTA News.
And the Nigeria Christian Pilgrims Commission is putting finishing touches to preparations ahead of the 2022 pilgrimage to Israel and the Kingdom of Jordan. Executive Secretary of the Commission, Reverend Yakubu Pam, made this known while interacting with the Israeli ambassador to Nigeria, Michael Freeman, in Abuja. He assures of the Commission's readiness at all times to partner with various stakeholders for a seamless pilgrimage exercise. And the euphoria that comes with the recent National Honours Award conferred by President Buhari is seen by many as something that can spur the recipients to step up more efforts in bringing about the needed upliftments of the country. This is coming from leadership of the Muslim community, who say Abuja, whose 6 members were among the awardees. Apart from the high expectations, the recipients have been reminded that Islam as a religion is also expecting them to justify the recognition by delivering exemplary lifestyle to bring about more of humanity support initiatives.
I would like to put that I'm obviously a good ambassador of this school, because you give me the opportunity to be who I am today, starting year 1 of the first sets.
To continue to serve humanity to the best of our ability. The rewards is from God. Whatever is given to us in terms of recognition is just a superficial beginning.
When I was in service, I prayed, may God give somebody better than me so that the system can grow.
Members of the community who backed OON include Senator Umar and a member of the House of Representatives, Hafiz Muhammad Kawu, Chief Imam, Tajuddin Mohammed Bello, and Ambassador Ahmed Umar, while Comptroller General Nigeria Customs Service Colonel Hamid Gott, CFR, and former Comptroller Nigeria Immigration Service Muhammad Babandedi backed OFR. Time now to join the sports desk for sports updates. And that concludes Nationwide on NTA's network service. We thank you for watching. Remember, rape is a crime. Join the NTA in the campaign against rape and rapists. Join us at 7 and 9 for more stories. I'm Lami Ali. Have a good weekend.